Hey guys, and welcome back to another video. Today we're going to be doing something a little bit different to the tier list and the devlogs and all of the other analysis kind of work. I mean, this does come into analysis, but today we're going to be going back and looking at the very first game I made, or I say made. I didn't finish this game, but this was the first substantial game development I ever did. And more interestingly, it is the first iteration of Be Not Afraid, which is something I want to build in the future. But it was actually this game that made me realize I need to do a lot of things before this can be realized, because currently, or at the time of making this, I was not at a level where I could fully actualize the idea. So we're going to go straight into it, and I hope you guys enjoy the video. So I thought it would be best to do a quick playthrough of the actual game first. One of the big issues is the mouse is still on the screen. I have no way of really avoiding that, and I've also just realized there is the sound coming through my computer. I hope you guys cannot hear that. Let me move my mic away so you guys can't hear that. Because I actually recorded this whole video already, but I had an issue where basically the sound that's playing right now sounds like Mongolian throat singing, and I could literally, it just completely drowns out my voice pretty much. So there's not really much point in watching a commentating video if you can't hear the speaking. But anyway, this is where we start. We start at the entrance. This is going to be, I'll do a quick summary of the story as we kind of go along. But level 1 is supposed to introduce the player to the theme and the scheme of color. So red, white, dark, and black. That is what my channel's brand is, and just overall the brand is red, white, and black. So we are a angel scout sent from the remains of the original Angel Empire, which was, by the way, this is all for Be Not Afraid. This is a completely fictional storyline and nothing to do with religion. Or nothing to do. It's not a comment on religion in any way. It's just an interesting subject that I thought could be turned into horror. So we're an angel scout that has been sent up to basically scout the entire, this is a mountain. Imagine this is a mountain. This is the bottom of a mountain. And several thousand years ago, the demon race came up from the bottom of the earth and slaughtered almost all of the angel race and has now taken control of earth. And whoever sits on God and now is on their way to God's throne, because whoever sits on God's throne in this fictional universe is who controls morality. So if the demons got to God's throne, they could theoretically make it so killing babies is considered good. And that would quickly annihilate the human race and do all sorts of stuff like that. And to get to God's throne, they have to take control of the summit. The summit is like the Mount Olympus of the angel race. And it is, as I said, is the gateway to God's throne. So that's why they attacked here. But as of yet, they have not made it to God's throne. But this basically kind of introduces that general theme. So we've come in, walking along, and here we are. We found an abandoned church, a church that will lead us into the rest of the summit. So straight away, I wanted to introduce a chase sequence because I thought, you know what? Why not immediately make the player think, holy crap. I don't know why I say crap. Please don't do this to me. Oh, okay. So we're going to cut there and we're going to just be back in a second. As you know, we're not going to cut there. We're just going to F4 and go back into it and do this a lot quicker. So my thinking with that first chase sequence is to make it so the player is actually fearful of something. Because currently it's like, okay, yeah, it's a little bit tense. But usually games do not start off with a chase sequence, or if they do, I think it's personally very good because it's introducing action straight away. So right now, I'm not kind of building up to anything. It's just straight away, run. And this confuses the player because it's not typical for games to start with something action-orientated. I think in story terms, it's called like the action hook. So it's a good way to get the player hooked into the game. So I obviously know the pathway because I know I built the maze. But yeah, as you can see, it's not exactly the most amazing model. This is a key, by the way. I know you can't really see it, but I can see it, so I'm just going to take it. There you go. I picked up the key and I failed again. Okay, we're just gonna do a little crazy thing here and start again. I promise I can do this. I'm pretty sure it's beatable. We're gonna find out if it's beatable. Apologies for that. I was going to say as well with this, just to reiterate, this game was made a year ago. It's the first game. So a lot of these issues are very good learning experiences because, as you can see, texturing's awful. You can see they're jittering in between the models. That's because each wall piece is a separate model because I was trying to do modular assets, which is actually a really good thing, except that these aren't the best because they are rectangles, which is exactly what powerful is, but you know, it's stylistic. So we take the key, and hopefully it's not right behind me. Please don't be behind me. Okay, it's ages away. So that's supposed to be like a part of the demon race coming to kill me, but we got the key. We go in here, introduce some basic mechanics, and then this is, it's a bit of a weird thing, but this is how you get to the next level. So next level is, I'm not even going to bother with this one because it's very simple. You walk up, you activate each of these crosses, and it will allow you to pass through here. The game is actually, this part of the level is broken, as you've been. So we're just going to literally walk into this. Usually what would happen is once you've collected all 4, these would move apart, and you'd be able to get through to next level. But it doesn't really work like that because, yeah, there's no blocking thing. So they're supposed to be close together, and if I walk into it, I can just push them, and off they go. So not the greatest, but yeah, they are just physics assets. Like, this is why I don't really like Unity, because physics. I know they are in Unreal, but Unreal I just find better. This is the best level out of all of them. I'm just going to show you activating one of these things. So this is like a beacon. Walk up to it, press E, and it activates. And you see top left, 1 out of 5. However, we're not alone. There is actually, so it's like a very slowed chase sequence. And I think this level is obviously the best out of all of them because each level was me learning new things as I went about creating it. And in this level was me learning how to animate, make a bigger terrain, use interactions, create UI, and should be around the corner. This is one of the new enemies, the golem. And these things were basically built by the demons to keep the angels, like what I'm playing as right now, out. And they move very slowly because this isn't just a chase sequence. In fact, I'm gonna back out now because it's the last level. And we're gonna go into this, and we're gonna load up the golem sequence. I'm gonna show you kind of what my intentions were with this. So with the golems, I've set them around the map. And I've made the map in such a way where the player will move around, collecting, activating each of the beacons. This is where the ending is, by the way. So once you've activated 5, you go to the ending. Pretty simple gameplay. But instead of just being chased, your goal is to not be cornered, pretty much. Because these things move so slow, I can easily outrun them. And I thought it'd be a lot more tactically interesting and, a bit of strategy to avoid getting yourself into corners, because corners are where they kill you. They will not kill you just by chasing after you. And that's why I put 4 in there. So say you're in this corner. If there's only one thing on the map, you're always going to be able to avoid them. But if there's 4, what I would hope to have is have multiple on each end. So once you're in a corner, you're trapped and you die and you get sent back to the start. So that was all the different levels. I had a little playthrough of each of them. So now I'm going to go ahead and break down kind of like the behind the scenes kind of stuff, but we'll jump into a next cut to make this a little bit more interesting. Okay, so starting straight off with level 1, this is where you spawn in, and I forget it's not the same as Unreal where you use WSD to move. This is I hate this. I guess it depends on which one you use more, but there's the UI. I don't know if you can tell, but this is actually the same typeface or font I use for my channel. Or it's very similar. This is the Help Me font. It's literally called Help Me. And the other one I use, I think, is like, I've not got a clue. But anyway, starting off from level 1, the general basis of it was to kind of get the usual entrance, simple, clear path to the objective. The objective being clearly highlighted by a massive white light and a border that matches the terrain and the theme. This works for a level 1, I think. It kind of just like sets the mood. It doesn't necessarily introduce any gameplay, which I think would actually be an issue, because if you're playing a game, you're not really looking for a mood, you're looking for gameplay. So I think having gameplay in this part would have been a lot more interesting and impactful than just having the mood set, because you can set the mood and have gameplay. So I think that's something I would do different, definitely this time. Generally speaking, I'm not really going to comment on the modeling and texturing because that is just something that comes with practice. I mean, as everything does, but things like specific game theories, I suppose, and game design techniques, that's something I think you have to go out of your way to learn. This is all stuff you could just learn by doing. So we'll move on very quickly because it's pretty basic level. There's not a whole lot to talk about. But moving on, we've got the church level. So this is technically, it was originally going to be you've gone inside the church and you're running around, getting chased by one of the eyes. So I've used eyes for this because of one of the demon angels thing is basically it's a turned ophonym. And when the demons came up, they didn't just slaughter all of the angels, but they trapped their souls, rebirth them? No, they're not coming out of that hole. Okay, this is going to be really annoying because I'm not going to remember. Reincarnated them as demonic versions of the original angels. So ophonyms in this game there are good ophonyms, there are normal ophonyms that are helpful, but there are also very dangerous ophonyms and demonic ophonyms, which I still need to think of a cool name for. Like, I can't. But anyway, this is a part of one, and at the top of the mountain there is the summit demon, which is going to be basically it's a massive infected ophonym with this demonic disease, and that's the thing that you're going to discover when you get to the summit. Again, all of this is very much going to be subject to change when I actually go to create the game, because I think this is very ambitious for an indie game, especially if I want to make this interesting, because, you know, each level you could probably do in under a minute, and playing a 5-minute long game is not very fun. And I will actually go into this now. It's very simple. Maze, get chased, key lock. It's more like a test level, really, isn't it? It's very limited mechanics. There's not a whole lot of gameplay, kind of just doing. But moving on, I did actually want to specifically come on to then the golem level. So originally, my tactic to make the game longer was just to make the maps larger. Now, while this is like something that is generally done to make games longer and, you know, get more worth out of your money, I think this is not the best strategy because it kind of feels like a band-aid. I'm making up for time by just giving the player more of the same to do or more of the same map. And the map isn't very diverse. Like, you're walking around and you're not going to be seeing anything else apart from this pathway and the mountains and the golems and, of course, the light boxes. So I think this is a very bandages. Apologies. This is a very crummy way of like piecing a game together and like making it longer. So I definitely wouldn't do this again. I think if you're going to make the map longer, you need to have more variation so the player doesn't get bored of doing the same thing over and over again. I do have to say though, with Unity, I thought that using the bolt system, because obviously in Unreal, I use Blueprint because I cannot code and I do not intend to spend time learning to code when I can learn how to do blueprints instead and spend all the extra. But anyway, the bolt system isn't exactly the best when it comes to coding. I struggled very much trying to get everything to work. There's not a lot of tutorials online, and this is why I think Unreal is better in that sense, because there's just more tutorials available for the visual scripting, and visual scripting is taken more as like the leading thing rather than C. Is it C#? I think it's C# or C++ on Unity. God, I need a drink. I will get a drink in a second. In fact, I'm going to get a drink. I'll be back in 1 second. Okay, I'm back. I'm so sorry about that. But continuing with what I was saying, that's basically the general basis of this level. It was larger, but it didn't have the variation needed to make this an effective large level. So very boring, and the character's movement is like beyond limited. It's so slow. It's really painful. I didn't actually show this level like fully purely because of that, because it's so draining to watch and play. But moving on. This level, I think, was the best in terms of actual map design. Like, it actually had a bit of structure to it, had a bit of variation in the different types of mountains. No, it doesn't. I actually just realized it's still just extruded. But generally, actually, no, it does, because it has these environmental features. Environmental features have to go hand in hand with the landscaping, in my opinion, because otherwise, it just feels very, I don't know what the word is, monotonous as well. I already used monotonous, but I think it covers this as well. Now, as you can see, it's again a case of go and collect. Oh my god. I just had to add some water and it clearly didn't work. But anyway, okay, I'm actually, am I fine? Yeah, I'm fine. Okay, so for the crosses, you have to, it's another one of those cases where you walk up to it, the cross will lift up, and it will technically free the spirit. Now, when you free the spirit of the angel, this was supposed to kind of release the angel back into the angel ranks rather than and then free them from the demon ranks. Obviously, these are the very minor angels, and these also free or push these to the side so you can move on. There's not really, the story isn't really gotten across here, is another thing I feel. I like that I only tried to use environmental factors to tell the story, but I do think having those kind of notes lying around the map just confirms the story for anyone who is interested in it. Because obviously people play games for the gameplay, but people also play the games for like the stories and stuff like that. So that is all the 4 levels covered. I will just cover I'll just show like what my bolt prints were, because I just think it's so much more clanky than blueprints. Just got to find them now, to be honest. Oopsies, I did a lot of animation failed attempts. Originally the golem was about 2 million polygons, I think it's polygons. God, I really, fuck's sake. But yeah, it's a lot of polygons, and so I didn't include it. Like, if I put it in the game now, I think it might actually, I don't know. Thing is, I love that. Where's the WASD system? And we moved it up. So this was originally going to be like a demon, and I actually did quite like the design. But I had no idea how to UV unwrap, how to texture, and God help me if I tried UV unwrapping this thing. It is unwrapping 2 million polygons is a death sentence, I think. And even with 2 million polygons, it's not exactly the most high quality thing. I wonder if it actually, if I load it, will actually stay in the game and do the animation. I really doubt it, but yeah, I didn't think so. Ta-da! There's actually, oh, okay, you just walk through it. But yeah, it would have been better than the golems. This was supposed to be the golem, but I patched it up because it was basically too difficult, to be honest. And that is pretty much covering everything in the original iteration of Be Not Afraid. I don't think I'll ever come back to this, and I won't ever come back to Unity, because I've used Unity and Unreal. I used actually Unity a lot more in terms of like doing all this. I think was a lot more than the level I've used Unreal. Actually, no, to be fair. Now I think Unreal is definitely my strong suit, purely because I've almost finished Powerful, which is where I'm going to come on to that. So I'm going to cut to a little bit of stuff on Powerful, because I thought, why not add that in to the end of this video? So stay tuned. Okay, so we're now back in Powerful at... What? Okay, this actually brings me on straight away to... I'm just on level 4 here. I've shown this before, but I've done it. I don't really want to go into it too much because that's going to be next week's devlog, but I'll just have this in the background while I talk about what the future is of Powerful, because it's I think it's a good time to talk about it. So no, I'm not announcing that I'm going to quit the game. I'm 100% finishing this game. It is so close to being done. I'm on the ending cutscene now. I'm almost finished with it. I think it's looking okay. I'm really excited to get this game done and released, and I intend to get this game completely finished by the end of the week, and next month is going to be the release date of it. Currently, I'm looking towards the end of June. Let me slow this down because it's very jarring. End of June is going to be the release date. Probably literally the end of the month, but I could release it a little bit earlier depending on how good the marketing goes, because I want to spend the whole of the month marketing, and I'll go into this more in the devlog coming next week. But I think it's important to spend a month on marketing, as the creator of Gavin, the creator of Choo Choo Charles, with the studio name of 2-Star Games. I'm pretty sure, I don't know why I'm saying that, everyone probably knows what it is. He said that he spent, I think, a month or several months doing marketing. And I think, yeah, this isn't a huge game. It's not a AA, it's barely single A. But I think it's worthy enough of spending time doing the marketing, because I think you can get so much more out of a game release with marketing. And I don't really want to risk just releasing it out of nowhere and having it flop. It's not going to do, it's my first game. It's my first release game. I have no expectation of it doing financially successful, or probably barely even raking in enough to cover the 80 quid to get it on Steam. But regardless of all that, I still want to try, because I think trying is most important. So yeah, that's the end of this video. Thank you all very much for watching. I hope you enjoyed that little sneak peek and behind the scenes of the first iteration of Be Not Afraid, because that is what the future of this channel is going to be. Once I've got through all of these different releases, I'm going to try to pump out 2 games a year, maybe 1 game a year, up until the end of uni, so that when I leave uni, or hopefully before that, I can get straight into building the Be Not Afraid franchise, because I started this channel with I'm building a franchise, and I fully intend to continue doing that once I have the skills learned by doing a bunch of different games like this. So yeah, thank you all very much for watching, and I will see you all in the next video. Don't forget to join Discord. Bye!